Hey guys, that my gamer back here from the video, guys. Today we'll be comparing two different cameras. Both of them are excellent for vlogging. Second off, both of them will be at a price range the average person doing YouTube or just doing video in general can go ahead and afford. Third thing, they are also very lightweight. Now I am recording this on a Sony A7 III, which of course is going to go ahead and be a very expensive $2,000 camera versus of course going ahead and spending money for a G7X Mark II. And also we have an Rebel SL2 right here. This is going to cost you around $474 body only. Obviously once you add a lens, it costs you a little bit more. I believe right now Amazon has a deal for $599 for the body and the lens. So if you want to go ahead and get that deal, obviously it's around $600. Now for the G7X Mark II, the G7X Mark III just came out, so you could probably get this for a little bit of a deal, maybe a little bit less because people are trying to sell their Mark II to get the Mark III. But of course, with that in mind, this is going to cost you right now, brand new, $600. So theoretically speaking, both of these cameras cost you the same amount. Obviously, this one with a lens costs $600. This one comes with a pre-built lens, and it of course is going to go ahead and be $600. So which one should you get? Should you get the DSLR or should you get the point and shoot type of camera? Now, first off, before we go ahead and break down exactly about these two, let's go ahead and talk about some easy features each one does have. Obviously, both of them will have a tripod mount, just like any other camera. It is very common. Now, with that in mind, unlike the Sony I am recording on right now, this one does have a 180-degree angle LCD screen. It is touchscreen, and again, both of these are touchscreen. Now, this one does not have a 180-degree touchscreen, camera LCD. But it's still, you can go ahead and flip that around so you can see yourself, making it very easy to vlog with. Both of these are very lightweight cameras, so you do not have to worry about being too heavy. Obviously, once you put certain lenses on this camera, the SL2, it can get a little bit heavier. But based on my experience, even with the 10 to 18 right here, it's not that much heavier than your typical, DSLR, I want to say, entry-level DSLR, and that's what this one is. It's an entry level. So this does have a cropped sensor. What that means is that you can put a full frame censored lens on this camera, or you can put a crop sensor on this camera, which of course is an EFS type of lens. You can also put EF, but what that means is no matter what you have, you're going to go ahead and get that cropped look. You're going to get that cropped picture. And it's not, honestly, not too bad. That's what I actually went ahead and started with, was this camera right here. And based on taking photos, it is still beautiful. Obviously, whatever you shoot with, a 10 to 18 I have on here right here, it's just 10 times 1.6, 16, and then 18 times 1.6. That's your focal length for your camera. Now, this one obviously does not have the ability to change lenses like this one does. You can actually go ahead and there's millions, that's not million, but there's a crap ton of lenses you can get for this camera right here, and they look beautiful dependingly. Now, this one, you don't have that option. It is a little bit smaller than this camera. Light, I would not say lighter, because this camera is not exactly the same, but it feels almost the same weight-wise. Nonetheless, though, this one does have a built-in lens, and you cannot change it. That is going to go ahead and get you an 8.8 to 36.8 millimeter lens, f1.8 to 2.8. Not bad, definitely still a very nice camera. And I know, again, a lot of people like this for vlogging because it's pretty simple. You hold it up, you say hi, you talk. It's very, very simple. And if you don't know cameras at all, it's pretty much like a pick up and play, plug and play type of aspect. Now, of course, you can go ahead and set this to manual just like any other camera, and you can change the settings, and you can take some very beautiful pictures with this. So again, if you do want to go ahead and have a best of both worlds, where you have a beautiful camera to take video and vlog with, and also have some Instagram selfies, Instagram pictures you want to do, both of these items will be a great aspect to use. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead now and switch over to one of these cameras, because again, you are seeing me go ahead and record this on the Sony A7 III, so that is what I'm using to record myself right now. But we're going to go ahead and switching over to one of these cameras and kind of showing you guys what it looks like just based on, using it. Now, keep in mind real fast before we do that I am using a Canon built-in lens, of course, for this G7X Mark II. That is just the built-in. This is like when you buy this is what you get. When it comes to the SL2, I am using a $300 lens. Again, it's a 10 to 18 millimeter, so I can go ahead and switch that up. The one that this actually comes with, this one, if you get it for a little bit cheaper, you can get a Canon 18 to 55 millimeter, which is, in my opinion, not a bad lens. The one thing that's good about these two, about this camera body, is a lot of EFS lenses does come with image stabilization, which is actually pretty nice. With that in mind though, let's go ahead and cut real fast, and we're going to switch over to the G7X Mark II, and you're going to be seeing the same angle, same shot, everything like that, but with that camera. 1 second, guys. Alright guys, so now we are recording on the G7X Mark II. So of course this is going to go ahead and be a test of how it looks. Now with that in mind, we will go ahead and take a look at this SL2, Rebel SL2, but so far so good. Now of course there should be a little bit, at least a little bit of difference going from the Sony Alpha 7 III compared to this one. Now again, this is still a very good camera, and again, a lot of people go ahead and swear by this as a vlogging camera. Again, not only is it smaller, you're just able to go ahead and put it in your pocket pretty much, compared to this one right here, which you're not going to be putting in your pocket. But the one thing that's great about this camera compared to the G7X Mark II is that it does have an audio jack, something the G7X Mark II does not have, but the Mark III does. So if you want to go ahead and spend the extra, I think it's $100 to get the G7X Mark III, then you can go ahead, of course, and get that extra audio jack. With that in mind though, that audio jack is amazing because it lets you be able to add different things to your camera, which of course is audio. Now this one right here does have a mic and a headphone jack on the SL2, and again, that just gives you so much greatness. But even with the G7X Mark III having a headphone jack, one thing it still lacks is of course the ability to mount. Now, of course, this does have the ability to mount a different, flash, a microphone, whatever you want to mount on your camera. The SL2 does give you that ability. Even if you do go ahead and fork over the money to get the G7X Mark III, you are not going to be getting that same luxury of having a mounting point on your camera. So you can add a microphone, but you're going to have to be holding it by yourself. And of course, with that in mind, you can get different mounts that you can add on to like a cage around your camera, but it doesn't have the same luxury of just having it on your camera, which again is such a nice feature. You don't have to worry about adding some other cage around your camera. You don't have to worry about doing anything. You just go ahead and you put it in there, bam, you snap it in place, and you're done. You are recording, you are filming, whatever may be the case. You are doing a vlog about brushing your teeth, for God's sake. It's so much easier having that little mounting point automatically added on. Of course, the Canon G7X Mark II and Mark III is not going to go ahead and give you that. With that in mind, though, again, the main thing I would say about this camera right now is that ability to be able to put it in your pocket, put it in your bag. It doesn't take up much space. You also don't have to go ahead and go out and fork money over on lenses, which again, this lens right here on the SL2, $300. This one right here is $89. Still, even not that much expensive lenses compared to a Canon 60 Mark II or a Sony Alpha 3, which of course those lenses can get up to $2,000. It's still going to cost you some money to get some lenses for this camera, because in all honesty, the beautiful thing about the G7X Mark II is it kind of has everything you want. It has a very wide angle lens, and it also has a very kind of more zoomed in lens, which is very nice. You can do that with the SL2 by buying certain lenses. Obviously, you can get a 24 to 105, which is going to give you a wide angle and a very zoomed in angle, but that is going to cost you an extra premium to go ahead and get. Rather than the G7X Mark II that comes with that built in without you having to go ahead and fork over the money to get an upgrade. With that in mind, again, my opinion is based on these two cameras, I would say if you're just trying to get a vlogging camera that you're not trying to take pictures with and you're not trying to get into photography, the G7X Mark II would be my best bet in my opinion. With that in mind, though, again, it does have the downfall of the audio, and that's honestly why I went ahead and got this camera. Because not only can you, of course, get the audio jack, you can go ahead and add a microphone, but you can also add different things like a light, a flash, stuff like that. It really helps out. Now, the beautiful thing about this, though, is that this does have a built-in flash. So you can even go ahead and avoid buying an extra flash. It has it built in. But the reason why I say that, again, even though this is amazing camera, the reason why I say the G7X Mark II is, my opinion, the better vlogging camera is not because of the fact that the audio jack is, missing. It's the fact that it's just so small and easy to use. And I feel like a lot of people who are just starting off, the built-in audio is actually not the worst in the world. I have heard worse. So with that in mind, it's not too bad that you have to, if you do use the built-in audio, because I've made a lot of videos, even one on the channel earlier this week, going ahead and using the built-in audio of this Canon G7X Mark II, and it's not that bad. But it just gives you so much being able to go ahead and have that small form factor, especially if you're going to be going ahead and vlogging all day. These are similarly around the same, weight, but being able to having to hold this whole entire camera takes up my whole entire hand, and I gotta use a second hand to go ahead and steady it. That camera, very easy and simple to hold for a long period of time. Now, guys, we're going to go ahead and switching over to the SL2. Now, again, I will be going ahead and using a lens, which is a 10 to 18 mil. Actually, no, I'm going to use a 18 to 55 millimeter to get the same exact angle you're seeing right now. But, of course, remember, this is going to go ahead and be a different camera, and this is not... I'm gonna say this, a little bit of this will be because of the lens, and obviously this is the stock lens that comes with it, but with that in mind, this is a little bit of the lens. But if you are buying this day one and you're just like, hey, I'm gonna go buy this, you're most likely gonna be getting the $80 lens and the around $400 body. So guys, let's go ahead and switch over to this SL2. 1 second. Alright guys, now we are recording on the Rebel SL2. Now of course we went ahead and just looked at this G7X Mark II. And honestly speaking, lads, as I said, I do really love this camera. The ability to flip out the LCD screen like this one at 80 degrees. You can also go ahead and change it around if you like to, all the way just like this. It's very easy, very simple, and again, it's very just overall easy to use. Of course, it does have a flash, something again I did not look at yet. And of course, like I said, the SL2 also has a flash. Both of these cameras having flashes. Now, the SL2 kind of uses this flash when you need it. Like most of the time, if it's dark in any kind of capacity, it will automatically turn the flash on. This one will do the same similar thing, but you can also just go ahead and open it very easily by one push of a button. With that in mind, on this, it does go ahead and not give you an audio jack, which does suck, but it also gives you micro HDMI and micro USB. Now, that's the same concept on the Canon SL2 that gives you, again, the same exact features. Nothing too special. Now, something I did not talk about and that both of these cameras do have is Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi built in does help you a lot because Canon has their own application, and after you go ahead and shoot a couple pictures or videos, you can transfer it easily over to an iPhone or an Android by just going ahead and use the application. That's something that's very nice and easy to use. With that in mind, you can also go ahead and use Wi-Fi to see a live feed on your phone or tablet of what you are taking a picture of. Again, another nice feature added to these cameras. With that in mind, there is, and I kind of give my opinion on the fact I like this one better than the SL2 overall. But again, you cannot go wrong with either one of these cameras. Both of them will get the job done. And again, it depends on how good you are as an entertainer, if the vlog is entertaining or not. No matter what equipment you use, it's all based on you as a person, right? So, based on equipment, I would say this. And again, I do believe if you are just starting right now and you want to get a good camera to use, either an SL2 or G7X Mark II, I would say go with this one. But if you could see yourself getting to a photography angle and getting into taking pictures and really, going down the road, going into getting more into video to a point where you think you might be going professional with it, I would go with the SL2. I would invest the money in SL2. And again, the SL2 body-wise is cheaper, but the lenses, of course, cost more money overall. Now, with that in mind, that is why I would say go to SL2 if you think that this is going to be a thing you're going to be doing for a very long time, maybe a year or two. If you are like, hey, I'm just trying to buy a camera right now to make some videos and see what goes on and whatever, go ahead and get the G7X Mark II. But if you're looking at this as a long-term thing you're going to be doing, then make the investment, buy Canon, buy the SL2, and then go ahead and invest into some good quality lenses. I'm not saying go out there and spend $2,000 on the 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8 IS lens. No. Again, if you use that on this camera, it's going to be crop sensors because it's going to go ahead and be messed up anyway. Well, not messed up, but it's going to be zoomed in anyway. So what I recommend doing is, again, you could start with just buying this kit lens that comes with the camera. It's an 18 to 55 millimeter IS lens. It's very cheap. It's around $80 $80 to $90 depending on where you find it, and you can literally get it with the camera, and it's very nice. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about before I end this video is going to go ahead and be they're all upgraded versions of both of these. I already covered the G7X Mark III, but let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit more. The G7X Mark III will let you go ahead and record 4K and 4K at 30 frames a second, and that's the exact same thing with the Canon SL3, Rebel SL3. It will let you record 4K at 30 FPS. So if you are interested in 4K content, which I know right now it's kind of getting there where people like 4K, but it's not at a point where everyone is focused on 4K, you can go ahead and get the Rebel SL3 or the G7X Mark III, which will both give you 4K capabilities. Again, like the first camera you saw me recording on this video, the Sony Alpha 7 III does go ahead and give you 4K at 30 FPS or 1080p at 120 FPS. Now that's $2,000. We're talking about a price range of $400 to $600 in this video. We're not talking about a $2,000 camera. And even the 60 Mark II, which is a $1,200 camera, does not include 4K. So again, if you are interested in 4K content and you're like, I need a 4K camera, and you have to go ahead and look at the SL3 versus the G7X Mark III, my opinion is, and the G7X Mark III does have an audio jack, but my opinion is I would go with the SL3 because, again, you have the mounting point for a whatever you would like to use, a microphone, a extra flash if you want to get an extra flash even though it has built-in flash, or you can use a light, right? So it's a very nice ability to go ahead and add to that. With that in mind, you can also go ahead and change out lenses, buy whatever lens you want, and really make a long-term investment into your craft. But if you're trying to go for a cheap solution, not a cheap solution, but a quick solution right now, and you're like, hey, in 2 months from now, I might not even care about this. I just want to go ahead and get something right now. You can go with the G7X Mark III, which is going to go ahead and, of course, give you that quick solution. Built-in lens, built-in camera. Very, very nice. With that in mind, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe button. Tell me down below, guys, what's your pick? The SL2 or the G7X Mark II? And if you had to choose between the SL3 and the G7X Mark III, which one would you go with? Peace out, guys.